Hello and welcome to another video. This is going to be my November wrap-up. Apologies that it's taken so long to get this up. It's actually quite difficult at the moment to find a time where it's light enough to film because my artificial light in my bedroom isn't brilliant. But in the month of November I managed to read a total of 10 books, which I'm going to go through now. The first book that I read was Alana, the First Adventure by Tamora Pierce. This is the first in the Song of the Lioness quartet. I'm lucky enough to be able to go to a convention in San Francisco next year where I'm going to meet Tamora along with a friend of mine, so we've decided to buddy read the Song of the Lioness series and the Immortal series before we meet her. This book follows Alana, who switches places with her twin brother Thom, so that she can go and train to be a knight because it's something that only boys can do. So when she's there she pretends to be Alan. And it's essentially following her adventures and seeing if she can manage to hide her true identity and become a knight. Really enjoy it. This copy actually has a number of spelling and grammar errors, which I never even noticed before. Obviously missed that. It doesn't detract from the story, it's just something we noticed while we were reading it. But again, really enjoy it. It's a very strong start to a series, and yeah, enjoying reading it a lot. The next book that I read was, or I listened to on audiobook, was The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. I've looked through this book and actually I think it's a good job that I didn't try and read it, because there's a few issues with, like, because it's a first person, Todd, our main character, is who the perspective is written by, and he's, should we say, not the most eloquent boy, and so the way he speaks is actually how it's written, and it's actually kind of grating on me. I'm a bit of a spelling and grammar teacher, if you like. I'm not a teacher, but that's how I feel. But I am glad I listened to it on audiobook. Having said that, I didn't overly enjoy it. I didn't think it was a brilliant book. I did feel it was quite weak in places, and Todd really got on my nerves, which probably didn't help. I am glad I've read it because there is an adaptation coming out, so I'll be interested to see that and see if I get on with that any better. But yeah, overall wasn't overly keen. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue on with the series or not. The next book that I read was just a fun little book, and that was called The X-Files, Earth Children Are Weird, illustrated by Kim Smith. This was just a cute little kids book, all about Mulder and Scully having a sleepover as children, and it was just really cute, really good, really fun for anybody who's a big X-Files fan. I really like the artwork in it, it's quite cute. But yeah, it was just really quick, really simple kids read, but I really enjoyed it. It was good. Any X-Files fan, I highly recommend you read it because it's just fun. The next book that I read was The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden. This is the second book in the Winter Night trilogy, the first one being The Bear and the Nightingale, which I read last month. This is the ARC copy I won in a giveaway from Goodreads. I really enjoyed this. We follow Vasya on her continuing journey to see who she is and discover what she can do, and it's just really good. I love the setting, I love the characters. It's just a really strong story, and I absolutely adore it. I highly recommend it to everyone. I can't wait for the third one. The next book that I read is The Wizards of Once by Cressida Cowell. Cressida Cowell is the author of the How to Train Your Dragon series. I have the first 3 books in that series. I didn't get on with it overly well. I do absolutely adore the film, but it's a good series. But this I did really enjoy. I love the artwork in it. There's little pictures like all the way through, and it basically follows Zar, who is a wizard who can't really do much magic, and Wish, who is a warrior who has a magical artifact, and they meet and adventures ensue. I really did enjoy it. I love the dust jacket. The underneath the dust jacket, sorry, is bright orange with this purple raven on it. But yeah, no, it was a good story. I would recommend it to any middle grader or child, I think they'll really enjoy it. It's a good series. I am thinking of continuing on with the series because I did enjoy it quite a bit. But yeah, it was overall a good story, which is good because I am hit and miss with middle grade. Excuse me. The next book I read was A Shiver of Snow and Sky by Lisa Luedecke. I really enjoyed this as well. This was the Book Box Club book of October. It was just a brilliant story. I mean, it has the most gorgeous cover on it, and it basically follows. It's the story of a town who get a warning when something bad's going to happen by the fact that the lights in the sky will turn red. This happened 17 years ago. I think it was 17 years ago. And Ossa, a young girl, decides to take matters into her own hands and journey to the mountains to ask the goddess, who they think is the one that changes the lights, if she can do anything to help them and to stop anything bad coming their way. So yeah, very good book. Highly recommend it. The next book that I read was another arc, and that is Daughter of the Siren Queen by Tricia Levenseller. I read Daughter of the Pirate King earlier in the year, which I got in an owl crate, and really enjoyed it. This is the second and final book in the duology, and I really enjoyed it. I absolutely love the whole idea behind it. I love Alosa as the main character. I never knew I needed female pirates in my life until I read these books. But I really do, and I absolutely love it. And this book is coming out in February next year. Obviously, because it's a sequel, I'm not going to say very much. The next book I read was In the Hand of the Goddess by Tamora Pierce. This is the second book in the Song of the Lioness quartet. Obviously, I'm not going to say too much about it, but let's suffice to say it continues following Alana as she pretends to be Alan and trained to be a knight. So yeah, again, very strong, very good, really enjoyable. Then the penultimate book I read this month was Forest of a Thousand Lanterns by Julie C. Dow. This was the Fairy Loot book of the October books. Sorry, I couldn't remember then. This was the book in the October box. I buddy read this with my best friend Caroline. We really enjoyed it. It's essentially the story of how the Wicked Queen in Snow White came to be the Wicked Queen. It's got some really clever plot points, really interesting characters, and the writing style was really easy to read. We both enjoyed this a lot more than we actually expected to. So yeah, that was a nice little surprise. Excuse me. And then the last book that I read in the month of November was The Last Namsara by Kristin Ciccarelli. This is actually the copy from my Fairy Loot box for November. But I'd actually I was like 2 hours off of finishing the audiobook when I got this in my Fairy Loot. But it was really good. I believe the audio narrator is a girl called Pearl Mackie, who I think is in Doctor Who as a companion, but don't quote me on that because I haven't watched it since the new Doctor took over. I will start watching again with the female Doctor, but that's a whole other topic. So yeah, it was narrated by her. She did a really good job. I really enjoyed the narration of it, and I really enjoyed the story. I thought it was really clever, really fun. Love dragons. Yeah, it was really good. It basically follows the story of Asha, who is a dragon hunter who makes some discoveries about things that she's believed to be true all her life, and what happens to her once she just finds out those things. So yeah, again, really strong book, really good, really enjoyed it. So mostly my reading month has been pretty good. 10 books is not bad. I didn't think I'd read quite that many, so that's all good for me. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!